Planet Earth.
Some call me nature.
I am very passionate about the planet
Earth.
A living, breathing planet capable of sustaining whatever life forms we see fit to deposit on it.
Spock, judging by the pollution content of the atmosphere, I believe we have arrived.
It's the planet stupid.
No. It's the planet stupid.
Our guide for It's the Planet Stupid, back from New Zealand, Belinda Weymouth. Hello, Belinda. Welcome.
Hello. Hi there. It's good to be back.
What's it like in New Zealand right now? It's incredibly hot, I would guess. Or no, it's winter there, right?
Yeah, it's winter, so the temperature was lovely. It's been unbelievably wet. You know, I've talked about this on the show. They had a cyclone hit where my family in Hawke's Bay live back in February. Unbelievable rain. In January, 4 people died in the rains and the floods in Auckland, our biggest city. They're being really inundated with weather, and they're sitting in this pocket of very hot ocean water, a little bit like Florida and some other places in the world. So there's a lot going on everywhere.
Yeah, so that feeds, your point is that feeds cyclones and cyclone development and severe weather.
Well, it's like you and I have
talked
about, weather is so complicated and there are so many factors, but when you think about, all the high pressure systems that head towards the equator, which is a low pressure system with hot equatorial waters, I look at New Zealand and go, oh, could sitting in this really hot ocean water be making you a magnet for these weather systems? I mean, it's complicated and there's so much going on. I mean, the news right now about the planet and the weather is just, it's game on, it's full on.
Well, it's complicated and it's not complicated. I mean, there's weather is basically energy transfer. And so when you talk about sea surface temperatures and warming of the ocean currents, it's a simple transfer of energy from the ocean to the atmosphere. And that's what cyclones are. That's what, cyclones, which are hurricanes, are, and tropical weather. That's the Earth desperately trying to balance all of this energy. And you mentioned the ocean. I saw this piece about how the ocean is the new area. I say new. This has been done a little bit to this point, but now there is really an aggressive move to exploit the ocean floor and all the minerals and all the resources, if you want to think of it that way, that are there on the ocean floor. And in so doing, they are disturbing ecosystems there. These are in the depths of the ocean that haven't seen any kind of disruption. There's nothing stirring up that sediment prior to this kind of development on the ocean floor. And it is dramatically going to change and perhaps eliminate a lot of these species that live there on the ocean's floor.
Yes, and it's, they're talking about, the mining companies and the people who want to invest in these projects are talking about, we need the copper and the lithium, but it's not actually a given that there aren't enough terrestrial sources of these metals. And so to say we have to go, down into the sort of abyssal level, the benthic ocean, they're talking about going 4 miles down. This is, the submersible that just, imploded at 2 miles was 2 miles down. This is 4 miles down. And I talk about this a lot with the ocean. It covers 71% of the earth. It provides 7 out of every 10 breaths of oxygen that we human beings need to survive. 95% of the biodiversity on the planet is in the ocean. There is more plankton by biomass than there are rainforests, which is, hard to get your mind around. And the crazy thing is we've only really explored 5% of the ecosystems and the ocean. And to have these mining companies and their investors think the ocean floor mining is so great and be promoting it this way because, there are no environmental issues, they're saying, because no one lives there. Well, there are species that live there. And as we know, ecosystems are delicate fabrics. And, you pull out a thread, you destroy a thread at the bottom, or a little thread that seems insignificant because it's some tiny creature that can't see, but, has a sort of a light and scurries around on that deep, deep ocean floor. What will wiping out that species do? So, what to me, it seems crazy. And what's happening is, we've got the International Seabed Authority meeting in Jamaica right now to work out what the steps forward need to be, what the regulations are that we need to put in place. But we've got these mining companies just champing at the bit, ready to go. Yes, they've had some licenses for exploration, but they want to get that down there and start, hoovering up the nodules.
That's right. Yeah. It's a gold rush. Exactly. Here is Douglas Macaulay, a professor of ocean science at the University of California at Santa Barbara, says, we don't know what's down there. We don't know the ecosystems. We don't know the damage that could be done. No sunlight ever reaches these zones that Belinda's talking about. And temperatures never rise above 39 degrees. But even at those depths, the ocean floor teems with life. It's slow growing and often small, but it is there. It's what you're saying, Belinda. And this is the quote that I thought was interesting. Life down there operates like it's on a different planet. The environment is so cold and dark, the clock of life ticks more slowly. Some of the organisms that have been documented are among the oldest on the planet, including coral that are more than 4,000 years old. And you just see this all being destroyed in an instant as these mining companies begin, as I say, this rush to exploit resources on the ocean floor. That's deep sea mining that they do. What is the timetable on it? They're ready to go, as you say. They're anxious to get started right away. Will this meeting to which you refer in Jamaica, will that slow them at all? What's the timetable?
Well, the problem with the meeting is, you've got a handful of countries saying, hey, we need to slow down. France, Germany, New Zealand, other smaller Pacific Island nations saying, we really need to do the research. We really need to know what's at stake, how much damage could be done. And then you've got other countries who are really champing at the bit. And 2 years ago, Nauru, which is a small Pacific island country, put the ISA on notice saying, we're going to start deep sea mining in 2 years. So you've got to come up with regulations in a 2-year time period. That was actually just over 2 years ago. And that's what they call the sort of nuclear option that, a country or a mining company could play with the International Seabed Authority. As we know, international sort of, agreements are really fraught. And to get, enough of the countries, there are 167 countries signed on, to the ISA. Of course, not the United States. We're in Jamaica right now as, observer at the meeting, but we didn't want to be, hindered by any international body telling us, no, you can't do this, or so we're not a member, which is really a pity because obviously the US has huge clout. So we're there as an observer. And the problem, with all these things, it's exactly what mining companies and fossil fuel companies do, with terrestrial sites and with their business ambitions terrestrially, is that they put out all this propaganda. I mean, to say that there are no lives down there and it's not going to matter and we can, go ahead and we can do it safely and we can just go in and sort of extract, very carefully. We can use AI and robots to go down and just work out the little bits that we should take off the ocean floor, but they're going to have all these trails of cables with power to power them. I mean, it's going to be like an enormous vacuum cleaner on the ocean floor. And we've already done terrible damage to much less deep ocean floor with dredging, which is, basically these huge, metal I don't know how to, they're sort of like graders that just go across the bottom of the ocean floor to get scallops and other things that grow in the ocean floor, and they just destroy everything. So, and, then when you look at what happened to that submersible, this is even deeper. So all the things that could go wrong, equipment that could, implode down there and just be left as debris. I also, right now there is so much in the news about just how beleaguered the oceans are. I mean, look at the temperatures off Florida the other day. They measured 92 degrees, for ocean water temperature. That's crazy. We've got dead fish being washed ashore on the shores in New Zealand because of the hot water down there. We had seals attacking surfers here at Venice Beach in Southern California and basically coming ashore to die. I mean, there's so much going wrong right now with the ocean, which, as I am going to say just one more time, life on Earth really depends on a healthy ocean. As we were talking about at the top of the show. It regulates our weather. It's a huge source of food, for billions of people on the planet. I think we have to be very careful about the ocean right now. And we have to transition to renewables. There are all these things that have to happen by 2030, and one of them is halving our emissions. And we're not on target to do that. And look at what's happening to the weather and the oceans with how hot we already are. We've got 7 years to halve emissions. So we need to switch to renewables, but do we need the copper and the lithium in the ocean on the ocean floor? I don't think so. I think we need to exhaust terrestrial supplies of it first.
I think that's a great point, and I hadn't heard it before, that the idea somehow that you need to exploit the ocean may not be the either most cost-efficient one or time-effective one. So, I think we treat the ocean like an open sewer, and then when it's time to exploit it, we get into, this kind of thing with the deep sea mining without regard to the ecosystems and the fragile habitats that are down there. And then you add to that the sort of general damage that's being done as a result of fossil fuel and warming, and you end up with the kind of ocean temperatures to which you've referred as well. It's really a scary lot. I was going to tell you about this other story that I saw, and it's how they're using AI to monitor orphan elephants in Botswana, and you see the power of AI. Here it is, to perhaps restore certain species. They're talking about the woolly mammoth and the notion that this is sort of, I read it kind of as mad scientist, but I wanted to get your take on it just generally without even, I know I kind of pop it on you, but I like that they're monitoring the elephant population with AI, although I think that can be done by a lot of nefarious forces and, evil forces, poachers, etc. But reintroducing elephants into the wild and knowing the social hierarchies of the elephants, which is complicated, that can be aided perhaps by AI. I'm wondering if there's any part, even stepping back from just that one story, of the overall environmental projects that you're aware of that actually can be helped by AI. I mean, can we use this scary technology that also has a lot of good in it to help in some way get us back toward magnetic north on helping the planet and helping the species on the planet?
Look, if we could use AI solely for conservation efforts and helping us with climate change, what an amazing use of AI that would be. And the AI with these orphaned elephants is to work out, how can you get them back living in the wild? Because elephants have such a hierarchical structure. And when an orphaned elephant, they just can't be folded in with a group of elephants that have, grown up and lived together, because they're seen as strangers and they haven't been raised by a mother. They've been raised by humans. I just have to say this thing I loved, because when I first saw the headline, I was like, oh, this is cool. Oh, the woolly mammoth, it's those people. So this idea of bringing back the woolly mammoth, I just have to talk about this because there are all these groups that are putting millions of dollars into it. And I interviewed Stuart Brand quite a few years ago. He's one of the original Merry Pranksters, and he has a company or a nonprofit called Revive and Restore. They have successfully cloned a black footed ferret from a wild ferret that was cryopreserved, in ice in 1988. But Stuart is really into bringing back the woolly mammoth. And of course, they would use, genetic material from Asian elephants. And they, when I said to him, like, this is a lot of, millions of dollars, all these, resources and money to go into this. And his answer was, well, we would have the Arctic tundra again, and it would be a carbon sink with the mammoths up there. Yes, that is the picture I used in the story I wrote when I interviewed Stuart, actually. But here's just a little piece of scientific data to add into this mix and to show how kind of far-fetched I think it is. There are 1.4 million genetic mutations separating that mammoth of 4,000 years ago to the current Asian elephant. And so what, skeptics of this idea, are saying is that gene splicing to get, the genetic material of that mammoth to work with an Asian elephant, that would be a mammoth, pardon the pun, undertaking in and of itself. So to come back to the AI, I love the idea of AI to conserve populations that are on the planet right now. And if we could help the elephants, yes, they so need it. And we will be so sad if we let those populations go extinct. But it's just interesting to me that then these companies that want to, bring woolly mammoth kind of jump on and say, okay, we'll help fund it, because we want to see how you reintroduce these Asian orphan elephants into the wild, because that will help us when we get our mammoth, reborn, and we'll be able to reintroduce it into the wild. And I'm kind of like, okay, that's really extrapolating. And my last point would be, it's just, they're so gorgeous. But the, the thing I say over and over again, I know I sound like a broken record, but, we need to be putting all our resources, I think, and our research and all these big scientific brains into helping us with our emissions and getting right-sized on this planet. This is our one home, and we're heading into this fiery, flooded future. I mean, they're talking about, there was news today about Greenland and about the last time, less than half a million years ago, where there was no ice there. It was Arctic tundra. The sea level was between 5 and 18 feet higher than it is now. I mean, we really need to stop that happening. And the temperatures were about what we're heading to right now, as far as how much hotter the planet was. We're heading to those temperatures again. So that's bye-bye 1 mile thick of ice, on top of Greenland.
And you've talked about what happens when a lot of the ice and the permafrost melts. I mean, it's a grim future. So Merry Christmas, everybody. This
yeah, sorry, guys. That's not my brand normally.
Yeah, great to have you back with grim news. Belinda, welcome back, though. Thank you for always being here with. Also, I appreciated the kind of recalibrating the notions about exploiting minerals on the seafloor. I didn't, that's obviously an emerging story, and so we'll watch it along with these others too. Thanks so much, and congratulations. I think you're celebrating an anniversary of sorts, aren't you?
Yes, I am. Yeah, I'm in remission, and I'm coming up on 2 years from when I diagnosed. I'm doing really well, so I'm super happy.
Yeah, that's pretty great. Pretty great. Congratulations. All right, well, we love you here, and thank you. Belinda Weymouth, everybody.
More.
It's the planet stupid. No, it's the planet stupid.
Next time, only on The Mark Thompson Show.
Hi, it's Mark, and I thought that was great. Hit the notification bell. You'll know whenever there's a new video being dropped, and please subscribe to our channel to help us save the universe.